All right, so here we are with our Activity 2 lesson. So for this, this is going to be an introduction just to fractions and decimals and how those can be written and how those are modeled. Really what I would like for you to do is just kind of follow along. I kind of made the joke in my last one that it's kind of like Dora the Explorer, where someone on a screen asks you a question and then just pretend. So just pretend that I have my backpack on. And then it's like Dora the Explorer. So I could say, ask you a question, you shout it at the screen, and then we move on, right? Cool. All right, so what I want to make a connection with real fast is this idea of what we know about fractions and seeing how that compares over to decimals. And one of the things that I'll mention, and you may hear me say this later on, you may hear Mrs. Moorhead or Mrs. Johnson mention this in their lessons, that when you think about decimals, think about money, right? So for example, if I were to say that I had $1.25, right? What that is saying, if you think about that, that is one whole dollar, okay? And then this right here is a portion of a dollar, right? It is 25 cents out of 100, okay? I don't have a whole dollar as part of it, right? So if you think about it, that I could say, well, I have one whole dollar, and then I have 25 cents out of 100, right? Because we need 100 pennies, 100 cents to get a whole dollar. So think about that. When we talk about decimals, we're talking about that decimal point right there. In science class, we talked about when we were measuring things. I can't remember something right now off the top of my head. Oh, I remember when we were measuring things when we were talking about mass, for example, and we were weighing things like Lego bricks or clay or whatever. On my electronic scales, we would say, well, maybe something weighed 0.46 grams. Okay, just making that up. What that is saying is that is not all of the way a full gram. Okay, we're about halfway there. We're not quite there. So we're going to start looking at fractions and these decimal points right there. So that's just kind of an idea. Okay. All right. So let's just take a look at this real quick. I'm going to bounce back and forth so you guys can see reload that. Cool. See this part over here and see how it's written. Okay, so over here, show 8/10 by shading the model. Okay, so think about this model right here. It is split into tenths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can also split this into hundredths. Okay, hundredths wins the award for a lot of THs thrown into it. Maybe, I don't know. I just made that up. Go with it. So this is tenths because it is in 10, okay? So the thing that you can be thinking about is this is 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10. How many more tenths do I need? This is the Dora the Explorer moment. If you said we needed 4 more tenths, you're right. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8/10 right there, okay? So what I'm looking at right now, I'm going to come over onto this one right here. We can say 8/10, okay? Now the way I would see this as a decimal, the entire thing is not full right now, okay? So I do not have a whole. Now listen, if you catch on to this right away, that's great. If you're not, just stay with me. It's like what I say in class, just stay with me. This is kind of a newer thing. The more you see it, the more you say it, the more you do it, it will make more sense. We do not have a whole yet, so I'm going to leave that blank. We do not have a whole dollar. Act like this is money. Decimals are, that's where we see them every day in our life, right? But what we're saying is that we have 8/10 like that. That would be like if we had 80 cents, 8 dimes. Think of it like that. Not quite to a whole dollar. 8/10. This place value is the tenths. Okay. All right. So let's go over this one here. Let me reload this, clear that out. Here we go. Next question, we'll submit it. IXL will tell us that we're brilliant. We are brilliant. Okay, cool. So let's take a look at this other tenths model right here. So get an idea how many of those would need to be shaded for 2/10. All right, if you said this, that works, right? Coming over here, we can see this is the fraction, 2/10. Now, just real quick, I know this is weird for everybody. That's the word I've been using a lot. When I'm doing stuff like this, try to write this down with me, right? So it's kind of like following along on the board here. So we have 2/10. Now I want to think about this as a decimal. I don't have a whole yet. 0, right? I don't have a whole dollar. But what I have is I have 2/10. So these are the same. That's what I want you to start seeing. Now, if you're thinking, wait a minute, it looks kind of weird without a 0 there, I'm going to get to that in a moment. Okay, we're going to take a look at that in just a moment. All right, 2/10, 2/10. You say it. If there's a dog in the room, tell your dog what this is. 2/10, 2/10. If there's a baby in your room because you're babysitting somebody, tell the baby what fractions are. Cool. All right, here we go. Next one. Cool. Great. Good work. Awesome. This is the one I was hoping for that IXL would give me. This one is different, okay? You can obviously see that this has been broken more into more pieces, right? We're no longer dealing with tenths, but we are dealing with hundredths. Look at that, hundredths. So imagine when we're thinking about decimals, imagine that we're talking about one of these grids. You see what I mean? Those base 10 blocks, right? So we can have a 1, and there are hundreds. 100, I would need 100 of those, or I can turn it like this and I can split it into tenths. Okay, imagine this. Like I said, it's like money, right? I'll move it over like that. I like that a little bit better. That's the difference between a dime and a penny. Dime, penny. I need 100 pennies for a whole dollar. I need 10 dimes for a whole dollar. 10 times 10 is 100. Okay. So let's take a look at this. I need 35 hundredths. Okay. 35 hundredths. So what would that look like? Now I could go through and go, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but then you would be bored and feel crazy, and I would feel crazy counting them that many, right? So what's a faster way to do that? Dora moment, let's go ahead, shout it at the screen, tell the baby next to you, my cat is right over here next to me, looking out the window, tell something or someone what you would do to speed it up instead of watching me take forever to count all these out. Okay, so if you were thinking, well, each row is 10, so if I do, well, let me do that. That's 10. So far, what do I have? I have 10, 20, 30. Do I have enough for another row? It's 35 out of 100. Right now I have 30. The answer is no. I would have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 35 hundredths. Now, what does that look like as a decimal? Here's the fraction. 35 hundredths. What that looks like, I do not have a whole. I have not filled up the whole thing. I need my decimal point, and what I'm going to say is I have 35 hundredths. 35 hundredths, 35 hundredths. These are the same right here. Look, that 3, how many full rows did I have? 1, 2, 3. Full rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 individual pieces. Okay, let's do a couple more. You guys are doing great. You got it. Yes, we do. All right, here we go. 5 hundredths. I want you to write this out as a fraction. Yeah, I know they gave you the fraction right there. Whatever. All right, and then write this out as a decimal. Try that out. Here, I'll drink some more of my coffee. Yes, I'm still drinking coffee. All right, 5 hundredths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just want to double check that because it's super easy to make mistakes where you just like start clicking stuff and everything else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Okay, over here. 5 out of 100. What does that look like as a fraction? Do I have the whole thing shaded? No, I don't. So that's going to be a 0. Put my decimal point right there. Do I have any full rows? No, I don't have any full rows. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to say 0. I don't have any full rows. That is for the full rows, the tenths, okay? How many tens do you have in there? And then, but I do have 5, so that is 5 hundredths. Think of it like this. If you just had 5 pennies, that's how you would write it as if it were money. If it helps you to draw the dollar sign in there, draw it in there. Just take it out, okay? All right, let's do a couple more here, then we'll move on with our lives. All right, 5 hundredths. What we got? Awesome. This is great. I love it, right? Okay, so here we go. We're working backwards. All right, they are saying 4 tenths. You say 4 tenths as you're writing this with me. There we go. 4 tenths is saying that it is equal to what? What's our numerator? What's the model going to look like? And you know what? If you want to draw it, go ahead and draw it. It's fine. If you don't need to, that's okay. There you go. All right, yeah. Look, 4 tenths. Look, 4 tenths, 4 tenths, 4 tenths, 4 tenths. Yeah, you're repeating yourself, but it's how you write it differently. So what do we have over here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 tenths. Quick random question, just because I'm thinking of it. Thinking about fractions, is that more than half, less than half, or equal to half? Think about that. If you said less than half, you are correct, right? Because 5 tenths would be half, but 4 tenths. There we go. Oh, wait a minute. Incomplete answer. There we go. I forgot to type my answer right there. That would have been one of those like, oh yeah, moments in class where you turn in your paper and you didn't answer it all the way. All right. Here we go. Super. All right. Perfect. Let's take a look at this one. You guys write that out, decimal and fraction. And then we'll go over it real fast. Hey, do me a favor. Don't lean in your chair. You're going to tip over and hurt yourself. I just wanted to say the random teacher things I would normally say in a regular class. Go ahead. Work it out. Okay, so we're going to practice saying this and looking at it. Look, 32 hundredths. We do not have the whole thing shaded in. Is the same as 32 hundredths, 32 over 100. So what is that telling me? I have 100 pieces, like this right here. This is telling me that I want to have 3 tens covering it. So that's my 10. That's my 20. That is my 30. Check that out, okay? 30. And then how many more do I need? 1, 2, right there. So I have my 32 hundredths. Okay, get rid of this guy. Go away. All right, 3,200. So that's what that looks like. So strategy on this one, so we're not clicking each one individually. We can count by tens. Whoop, hold on. So that's 10, 20, 30. Double check. That's 32 hundredths right there. Finish it off all the way. Perfect. 32 hundredths. Got it. That's right. And we've reached our daily practice limit. You know what? That means this video is now over. So what you guys are going to do, you are going to get on IXL lesson T2. It's the same lesson that I just completed with you guys, but using different questions. Work it through. If you happen to get one wrong, IXL is really nice. It is going to show you why your answer was incorrect and then give you some guidelines on that. So just don't go crazy and start clicking stuff. Read through and say, oh yeah, that's why I got it wrong, and try that out, okay? Nothing to turn in today other than your activity 1. If you need any help, as always, let us know and we'll help you out. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Thank you very much.